All right. Hopefully this fixes the delay. Um, this is actually part of this is beta testing a product for YouTube. And so I can give that feedback like, oh, if your alarm goes off, or probably if a call comes in, um, it causes a desyncing issue that I can't fix. Or maybe they'll go, oh, you click the sync button, bro, and I don't know where that button is or something. So, um, yeah, but that's one of the perks and one of the downfalls of being able to use products that normally no one gets access to. All right, let me get to the right chat. I just realized I was still in the old chat. So on a bigger screen makes it a little easier. All right. We were talking about, challenges that arose when I started delegating more tasks, and it's more like a relationship of trust. I know there's times where I can't remember amounts, but tens of thousands or maybe just $10,000 has been lost by Randy. Randy has also made me insane amounts of money. So, but you have to enter into these kind of things of like, did I hire the right person? Do you have to, it's like learn to ride a bike, right? Which is super cheesy to say, but odds are, um, like you're never going to learn how to ride a bike if you never crash, right? Or if until you crash, you'll get exponentially more and more risky, right? Like nothing can go wrong. Eventually, you're going to crash though, and you see the consequences of being too risky. And so the whole goal though is that you kind of have to sit back and watch. You're training your kid how to ride a bike, and you're there to make sure they don't run in front of a semi truck, right? But you might be like, yeah, go ride, and then they're going to fall over in grass, and you're like, great, they got to experience that kind of a soft failing, or falling or failing right there. And you have to do that in multiple facets. You have to do that maybe in some type of purchasing role, some kind of maybe vendor negotiation, maybe whatever roles you're going to hire these people to be. Just know that there's always a cost, and that's where a lot of times businesses will say like, cost $50,000 to train someone up. That goes up exponentially if you're hiring six-figure people and you're putting them in roles of like, oh, what do you mean you ordered 2,000 of the wrong widget? Oh, and to ship it back, it's $2,000 or whatever, these types of things look like. Um, but the hardest part for me is letting go. And I think that's what a lot of people do. So let's say you've been doing really well at doing whatever it is in your business and it makes lots of money. And then you watch, and maybe you've been doing it for 5 years, then you watch the person that's supposed to take over for you, right? And they're not as good. It's really hard to go, but if I was doing it, we'd make this much money. And watching them doing it, we make 20% less. But you focus on that part, not realizing, wait a second, I'm supposed to be doing 100% of something else. You take a 20% hit while gaining 100% in new business that you can work on. And so you don't look at it like you're missing 20%, you look at it like you're gaining 80%. And over time, and I've learned that key people in my business, the higher up you go, the longer it takes to get you to how do I think like Cory? How do I make sure that when I do have that time with him, I've got uh, all the ducks in a row so we can have an efficient meeting and get the questions answered. That takes 2 years. Whether I worked with like Robert, so he was our original retail store manager, it took 2 years before I was like, great, it's on you. Manage the employees, manage the customers, manage the fish, manage all this. And then it took 2 years, and mostly I think Randy's been with us now for three, no, four. I think 4 years. Might be 4 year anniversary in November. And now it's to the point where I send people like talk to Randy, not me. I work on different stuff, and eventually, my goal is I've got another, basically I'm gonna be 39 in April, so I got like another year. My goal is that if I was to get hit by a bus, right, the business would live on without me forever. And I've got one more year to pull that off, and we're pretty close. The honest thing is like, yeah, I'm still in charge of social media. I'm trying to get that to be more diversified and things like that. But I think at some point, hopefully, I made the transition, and other people will make the transition in your own businesses to realize that the ultimate business is one that you wouldn't have to work in, right? At the beginning, it's we got to make more money, got to get some employees, got to do more things. Eventually, you get to a point where, okay, well, how many more employees? We already have 35, right? How much more money? We already have X. And so you get to a point of like, oh, I need time and I need less stress and I need some of these things. And so when you finally get to that point, that's the funnest point to be in because you can kind of do anything you want and you watch businesses. Some will totally embrace that, right? They'll embrace it and they'll be like, "Great, I golf every day, and I don't even know what my business is doing." And 5 years later, they don't have one, right? And then you've got people that still like work on it every day, work too hard, and they die of a heart attack. The middle of the road is, for me, what I see when I retire, if you will, at age 40, is that I work like 1 day a week. Like for me, I plan Mondays, right? It's like, okay, meetings, let's do this. Whatever, what do you need? What do I know that you don't know yet? What do I need to make a judgment call on? What are you not sure about that if you had the owner's blessing goes a little easier? All of those things, make all those decisions, and then the rest of the week, like, oh, I could make a video if I wanted, if I want. If I don't want, don't worry, another video is going to come out. Great. Any of those things, right? I could travel the world, I could do whatever I want. And then most times I think you actually spend more time than that. But my goal will be definitely lots of designated not working days where, because for the last basically, what I started, 2012, so 10 years. Oh my gosh. Is it March? It is March. I think like sometime this month will be my 10-year anniversary of starting this business. Well, not starting, but like opening my retail store. And so uh, in 10 years, I want to say I've taken like, and this is like going to be a true statement. I want to say like 6 weeks of vacation, maybe. So less than a week a year for sure. And what I mean by that is I don't take days off. So your average employee might work 9 to 5 and have 2 days off a week. I don't have days off. So when I say 6 weeks, like that's, what is that, 36 days? No. Yeah, 30, that's 42 days. I have to sneeze. 1 second. I probably just killed your guys' ears. I don't know what else to do though. I don't want to cause any lag. I've taken like 42 days off in the last 10 years, which it would seem absurd unless you live with me and you know me, and then legit I tried to work a half day on the day I got married, and my whole goal from 30 to 40 was if I work every single day as hard as I can, I think I can retire at 40, and I think I'm going to make it. That being said, let's hope I don't die 3 days after being 40 and be like, ha, worked myself to death. That sucked. Um, but now the goal changed, and now it's I work so hard so that I won't have to work, and instead purely it will be I want to work today, and I do already do. Like I wouldn't do this right now unless I wanted to work. Um, yeah, Kenny says that sounds like a lot knowing you as I do. Have you really? I don't know that I've actually taken that much time. I've taken in the 10 years. I think I've been to Maui twice, and those are usually 10 to 12 day vacations with my wife. And we did Japan for our our what do you call that thing? Honeymoon. But I filmed the whole time, so it was like a working vacation. So it was yeah. And then I'm trying to think if there's any legit vacations. I legit think I might have only taken two, like go to Maui vacations. Oh no, there was a couple. There's a couple like timeshare vacation stays from Katie's mother that we did that were like 5 days or something. So I bet you it's in that realm though. And even then, no joke, like in Maui, I put in 2 or 3 hours in the morning and 2 or 3 hours at night every night. But that's still vacation to me because I still like went to the beach, ate well, did whatever I want. And for me, I enjoy looking at analytics. And the only way I can maybe describe it is if you're doing well in the stock market and you look and you're like, hey, numbers getting bigger. And you kind of like, there's a sense of like, that's good. I like that myself, right? And I try very hard to not get the negative things. Like I remember one time we were in Maui and I got a call from a customer on my personal cell phone because this old person had called and ground down PayPal long enough that they gave him my personal cell phone number. And eventually I pick it up and it's like, it took me like, I'm like, who? What? Eventually, because they were super old, and eventually I found out that, like, oh, you're talking about an online order. And it was for like, they like accidentally ordered two gift cards. And I'm like, yeah, no worry, we'll refund it. Yeah, yeah, I'll send an email right now. We'll get it taken care of. Like, all they would have had to do is send an email to Candy, but instead, they're literally, I'm on like the balcony of this little condo thing, eating lunch, just going, "Well, is this real life right now? Like, how? No one has my phone number. How did you get my phone number? I'm not even sure Candy has my phone number, honestly. She might, but I honestly not even sure she does. Very few people have my phone number. And and why? Oh, because I kept calling. I was like, why would I? I wouldn't have picked this up. But I think they kept calling, and I was like, okay, maybe that's like, an emergency over and over and over again. All right. Would I ever consider delegating the crown? For sure. That's Randy at the moment. Um, yep. I've always stated, basically I want someone to replace me. And when someone truly replaces me, it frees me. And that frees me to, do I start a new business? Do I start a new wing of our business? Like, if someone can do everything I do in a normal day, then I get to do other stuff. And that's the most freeing thing. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be him. Let's see. Do I have any advice in getting back to enjoying my job? I found in the past year I lost all my zeal in my current job, which I used to have, and it feels like a burnout. No, I'm burnt out as hell right now. I always get burnt out. It's for me, I don't think, now I have a different opinion. I don't think all work is supposed to be enjoyable. The work I enjoy the most is the hardest against all odds, because I literally put myself in a mindset like, I know my competitor wouldn't do this. He would bow out, he or she would bow out, and this is where I'm getting ahead. So I enjoy like, there's a day where we had 12 employees scheduled and 10 out of 12 called out for snow. And I was like, this is going to be a long day. I guarantee my competitors aren't showing up with their wife, themselves, calling in anyone they can get. We ended up having like six people, uh, finance, Randy, myself, we're all picking and packing, making things happen. Um, and the couple of great employees and all that. Like, but in terms of like, how do I get the passion back? I don't think you do. I just honestly don't think that it's ever gonna be like, I love working as much as doing something else. And so, and the best example I have of this is, even when I go to Maui, I don't book it longer than 2 weeks, because after like 7 or 8 days, I'm bored and I've lost my passion for Maui. I'm like, weather's dope, eating well, been to the beach, done that, went and saw a movie, and then I'm like, ah, what do I do now? Right? And so I think variety is the spice of life. And so I could probably go back home and maybe I do some gaming, do a little bit of business, do a little bit of that. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh man, I could really go back to that beach. That would be awesome. And I think the problem is that with work, you don't get that option. Most jobs don't. It's just kind of a grind. And so I'm not sure that really we're supposed to enjoy it. And there's people I'm sure that do, or at least for a time you do, right? But the grass is greener syndrome kind of always sets in. And so I always look at it like, and I talk to a lot of people this way, are the rewards worth the effort? So like, I absolutely hate talking about fish in front of 1,000 people on live streams because it's repetitive. I only have chances to get myself in trouble by it. You said this, you said that. 2 years ago in a live stream, you said this, taken out of context, right? And so there are some fun parts of it, but for the most part, am I super jazzed next Tuesday to go live from 5 to 7 p.m.? No, I'd probably just rather go out to eat somewhere, but I won't because I'll work. But the fruits of that labor are so beneficial that they allow me to do other things I want. They let me to sit in the lounge. They allow me to fly first class. They allow me to do other things in my life that I put value in. So even though I'm flying first class to go do more work, that's purely more enjoyable than flying coach to go do more work, right? And I do all of this work so that when I'm 40, hopefully I don't have to work. And then instead, I will work on different things that will, oh yeah, I did this business for a little while, found someone to take that over. Now I'm doing this business for a little while, found someone to take that over. Now I'm just living in Hawaii for 6 months, totally bored of that. Now I want to go see Egypt. Now I'm bored of vacationing. I just want to be at home. Like I need good home food, spending time with my dogs, mowing my lawn. Like I love mowing my lawn twice a year. I have to mow my lawn 15 times a year. But there's two of those 15 where I'm like, it's been raining and cold the whole year, and this is so nice. And then there's like one other time where like the stars align, like this was therapeutic. I exactly needed to mow the lawn today. Smells great, birds chirping, all of that. And then there's all the other ones where it's like, it's gonna rain tomorrow. I better mow my lawn. Oh, dang it. Oh, it's wet. Oh, the mower's getting soggy. Oh, dang. Right? There's all of those things you don't like. But take the wins where you can get them and realize that it may not, it's supposed to be fun, and there's definitely people with other takes of like, don't do anything in life, it's not fun, blah, 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 you only have one life to live. I get all that. But other, different people have different, we think different ways. We live our lives different ways. And so I love security. If I'm not secure financially in my home and things like that, anxiety takes over. And so it's the same reason why we was talking with creators this weekend and how it's so stressful to go and talk in front of a few hundred people live than it is to do it in front of thousands online. And it's not that you think you're going to fail. We all agreed that. Like we know, like, they wouldn't have brought us. We do this all the time. We know what we're doing. It's the weight that is lifted when you get off work. So like Katie Tropicals and their large creator, he didn't speak till Sunday. I had negotiated to speak to Saturday. So I pulled the big dog card and like, I'm not speaking unless I speak on a Saturday. And it was purely because I like to get my work out of the way. I like to go, great, let's get the thing that, I hope the microphones work. I hope the tech works. I hope, this is working and not wrong. Get that out of the way early. So now I'm like, hey, no matter what, I just got to be here and that I can do. Yeah, so I don't know where exactly I was going with that, but even stuff that you could make things more difficult, more easy, and and it's all a trade-off, right? Like, do I want to go live? Let's say I go live for a couple hours, make $1,000, right? Or do I want to go mow yards? I could mow yards, but maybe only making $100 an hour. So I got to spend 10 hours of doing that, right? So you got to make choices. And sometimes you really, literally would be like, I'd rather mow lawns today, And there's like, I hate doing dishes. I hate cooking. I tell my wife all the time, like, if you don't want to do that, I understand because I hate it. However, I would love to work harder in some other aspect of my life and hire those positions out if you don't want to do them. And she goes, no, 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 I'll do them because she doesn't hate doing it that much. She's actually a great cook and all that. And so, but I think it's a matter of choices. And not every job's going to be amazing. If your job is terrible and you're like, I work my fingers to the bone and I make $7 an hour, that doesn't mean you should be like, find a way to love it. Instead, maybe, maybe you should find a different job that won't work you physically so hard, or maybe it pays you more money. Maybe you're still doing the exact same job, but pays you twice as much. Or, one of the biggest benefits I think anyone can really take advantage of is I think people now might see some of it in the last couple of years, but before, my biggest thing that I'd always clued into was how far away are you from your work? Like people would always be like, I'm making X an hour. And I'm like, you drive 2 hours each way. Add 4 more hours, then divide that money. You're only making 25% less, right? If you have an 8 hour day, you drive 2 hours each way, which people in my neck of the woods will do that. They'll drive in 2 hours to get into Seattle or Renton or Bellevue or whatever it's going to be. Traffic's going to be insane, right? that 150K you're making is not just based on 8 hours a day, it's based on 12 hours a day, right? That doesn't look nearly as good as something closer to home where you might only be making, oh, you're only making 90K, less number. And they don't do the big math, right? They don't realize like, well, you're paying more taxes at 150K. You've got this, you've got that. You're probably expected to dress nicer. You probably has more, more stress. They don't factor all these things in. Where I factor in. That's why I work from home now. It's like, I learned that years ago. My commute right now is 20 stairs, or to my other building, it's like 50 steps. So I can be in really quick, eat lunch, back out. My wife wants to know what I want for lunch. Let's see here. Hmm. I'm telling her I'll take the roulette, whatever she wants to pick. But my wife is an extension of me, and it helps me work harder. So, like, whenever this ends, right? I'll pick an end date or end time. I'll be done, right? And then I'll probably eat, and then I'm gonna bounce straight into the next live stream. Probably, I'm probably gonna be like, guess what? Members of my other channel, we're going live, and I'll get that done, and then hopefully it'll be like 1 o'clock, and then I'm gonna go. All right, I should go feed my fish. I should prep for my filming tomorrow, and then I'll check in on emails and all that. But she will allow me to do that as opposed to end this live stream. I should either make something or I should go pick something up, or it allows me to continue on uninterrupted. And again, she understands what I can get done with my time. And she also will understand because sometimes she'll roll up here and like, are you playing video games right now? Never does she question me though if I'm playing too much because she knows I work too much. So instead, she'll encourage me like, yeah, keep playing. You can do that tomorrow. Like she knows. All right. Let me answer some more questions. Well, I do advice on investments. Hold on. I'm trying to decipher this. Will you do advice on investments, OIT, side of self-owned business? I mean, I invest an insane amount. Like my goal, and this is one of those things where people are gonna be like, this guy showboating. My goal is to get to a point where I'm investing like $50,000 a month into just stocks and other businesses. And I had a meeting about a business acquisition and stuff like that. And so, but I told my investor, my CPA, I guess, one of my goals in maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, I want to own one share of Berkshire Hathaway, like a total voting share. Right now, those are valued at like 300 and some $1,000, right? And to me, that's just like a Rolex. It's something like I care about because I'm like, I wonder how many people own like legit shares. Because that's like, I love listening to like Warren Buffett. I don't agree with everything or anything, but it's a goal that I made in my mind a few years ago. I'm like, man, that would be so. I can't even imagine like yeah, I don't own any right now. I don't even own like one billionth of a share. I have zero. But I'm like, it would be super cool to be like, I own one of those shares, just as a like a. And I do find I have to give myself goals. Otherwise, I just burn out of like, yeah, we made money. Oh, cool. Because at a certain point, you get to a point where money doesn't change anything. So imagine you've got your house. I've got a car from 2018. I travel for work already. I've got my dogs. I got my lawnmower. I got my fish, right? At a certain point, we're like, you made more money than you need. Okay. And then you're like, you made more and more than you need. Like, okay, sure. Right. It still doesn't change my drive to change parts of my business, make it better, do more things for, the environment and all of that. So then it becomes investing of like, okay, invest this so that if I do make a horrible mistake in business, I can bail us back out. So I've got like a wicked big life insurance policy so that when I go to the Amazon and I do something stupid and I die, the business lives on. My wife's taken care of, all of that. That costs a lot of money because I'm a giant fat guy, right? So I'm not a good risk assessment. And they're also like, and you're going to the Amazon? Where else are you going? Like, this is not a good risk, all right? So it takes a lot of money for uh, them to go, okay, we'll insure you. And if something was to happen to me, company's taken care of, my wife's taken care of. But it allows me to, I like being safe, right? To know even if I had something go horrible in another country, I come back with broken arms and broken legs, I could, lay in a hammock here just being like, oh man, this sucks, recoup for 9 months, business would move on. That's the good news. And so I live in that fear, and maybe in another 10 years, we'll be like, okay, now we've made so much money that we don't even have to live in that fear. And that's where I want to be. I want to be truly free. And so with investing, I think a lot of people, especially lately, because the market like never goes down, I've been investing since back when I was making like $12 an hour, which in some parts of the country or countries will sound like a lot of money, but where I lived, that was nothing. It was, poverty level basically. But I would try at least to be like, let's buy like a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean like, hey, I invested $100 this year. And just to learn and watch things grow. And then I got a job at a 401k plan. So I was like, let's max that thing out because they match, right? So they did a 3% match, and then before I ended up leaving there, I was giving 10%. They were doing 3%, and I would do the things that articles would tell you to do, like when you get a raise, just add that to retirement instead of taking it for home, and I would do that. And then like eventually you leave that company, you got to take the money out, you roll it over into another. I'm getting uh, messages rolling in, but Joel Cory was asking to said he sent me a message that someone sent him a message, which is kind of like it's a good feedback loop, right? So the person said, "Jesus, order from Aquarium Co-op yesterday at 2 p.m. Package showed up this morning at 8:45 a.m. I don't understand." Laughing my ass off. Yeah, that's because Cory doesn't sleep, and he will have Randy optimized till the end of time so that our employees are super efficient and like my goal was to be faster than Amazon. We pulled that off years ago. And what's been great is as Amazon gets bigger, they like COVID just like they're like drowning in their own success. Uh, on average, like I ordered some my dogs had itchy butts, right? It's been really dry around here. We don't have a humidifier in the house. So they're itching. And we got some anti-itch meds to help them and all that. So that's anyway. So I ordered some dog conditioner that had aloe vera, oatmeal, and cucumber melon, right? And it was supposed to be here Tuesday. I ordered it Sunday night. And I was like, great. Tuesday night, wait, yeah, Tuesday night we'll wash the dogs because they're itchy and all that. And then guess what? Tuesday comes around. It's like Tuesday night. I'm like, that didn't show up. What is going on? Log in Amazon. Oh, it's been delayed till Wednesday or Thursday. Well, it ended up showing up last night, but you know, that from Sunday, you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's 3 days. Whereas ours, we basically never miss a ship out. So it can get caught. It can get caught in the postal service somewhere. But we only ship things priority and all of that. And on average, I know. I wonder if I can show you guys. Let me show you guys some real like matrix level, whoa type stuff for my business real quick. Let me see. How do I get there? Is it under analytics maybe? Oh, live view. Yeah. Let me see. Is this? I don't even care. I don't even care. I'll show it to you. I don't care. So let me turn this around. We'll just put this like this. And we get that going a little better. This is a real-time tracker of like every these are all visitors right now. So where people that means they just placed an order. Let me make sure I'm not going to show their name if I hover over that. Give me one sec. No, it won't. But I can watch, like this is, when I had a bunch of screens, I'd have this up and you can see where the orders are going real time, right? I can see top locations right now. There's 71 people, New York today. There's 66 people in Singapore. 62 people in Chicago, 57 in Houston. So far today, we've got 146 orders, 38 brand new customers, 105 returning customers, like all this kind of data. We've done $9,819. Still early in the day, right? This is by 11 a.m. We've done $10,000. But, I also will always make sure people know there's also probably 15 people's salaries we're paying today. Well, more than that, like just in retail and the warehouse. Plus, you have all online teams and all that. So we're oh yeah, fast shipping. So, but I've got other metrics. Let me see if I can find another metric because I obsess about metrics. I love to go, how are we doing? What does it look like? Because and I have these up a lot of times because I can spot a problem coming a mile away, and like that's how I can make sure we address problems before they even happen. Where's that graphic I like? Right here. So let me flip this around again, make sure there's nothing too crazy on the screen. So this right here, let me move this a little bit. Go Gadget phone. So this view is what, this week so far, I think? Yeah, this week. So 2,528 packages have ordered. We have 902 of them currently in transit. That means that they're on the back of like a UPS truck. 537 of them are out for delivery today. This must be like a month or something, 11,859. But right here, 0 exceptions, right? And then also we go over here to alerts, and we have it. Oh, go right here. That way we can see the number. How many have a shipping exception? And that's what Amazon labeled my package. It was a shipping exception. We also have how many failed attempts for delivery, how many are just pending details, like, data's missing, the tracking expired, needs attention, or canceled. We could, physically cancel them. So I surround myself with analytics to keep a bird's eye view on lots of numbers and statistics. And when I see any of those start to creep, like, what do you mean? And there's times during the pandemic or during snowstorms, like where we start looking into that and you go, okay, yep, that's a snowstorm. Nothing we can do about that one. Can't predict it. Can't, there's really nothing we can do about that. But then you can go, hey, did we not ship everything yesterday? What happened? Turns out we had 4 call outs. This happened and this happened. Then we had an outage with our web provider, something like, okay, let's not make it happen again. All right. But yes, shipping quick is one of my priorities for sure, because back when I owned other businesses like selling magic cards on eBay and that kind of stuff, I was the worst. You would buy something on eBay and I would ship it like 2 weeks later. I was terrible at it. But I also had full-time job and all that, and it was like the longer I wait, the more I could ship at once. And then I realized in business, speed is the only thing that matters in terms of shipping. Like, people will spend more money. They want it yesterday. By the time they realize they wanted it yesterday. They didn't know they needed it yesterday, but they wanted it yesterday. So, and that's also why I don't bring stuff to events and stuff like that. Like, we ship so fast that yeah, it it doesn't make sense to move stuff around the country. Like, you could buy it here. Like, order it now. It'll probably be at your house in like 48 hours from right now. And one statistic, and I got rid of these analytics because it was costing me a ton of money to do them. But one statistic was that we had going last year, even during the pandemic, was on average the time from someone placing an order to the time that we had a label on it and it's sitting for USPS to pack up was less than 10 hours. Now, that includes every order. If you ordered at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? There's lots of orders happening all around all 24 hours. But and we close, we don't ship on Sundays. So that whole average at max was a 10 hour. Now that being said, I order stuff all the time, and I always shake my head when, like, I ordered some pants for the convention, and they didn't ship it for 2 days, right? And we're going, oh my gosh, like, and I paid for advanced shipping. I paid like an extra $3 to ship it like priority or whatever, and I'm like, that's what people don't get. Shipping speed is one thing, but so many retailers are asleep at the wheel. And it's because it's like it's beneficial to delay. And what I mean by that, if I was to delay how fast we ship, so often people will place an order, we'll pack it an hour later, and then they get a hold of customer service. Hey, I want to order this too. Sorry, already shipped it. If we put an artificial delay in there of a day, we would make more money in that aspect. But we lose out on all the repeat business of like, yeah, they ship quick. It's great. So we picked a different strategy, but it would be financially more beneficial to actually delay people. And people let you get away with it. Like, fast enough, right? On a much smaller scale, for my own business, we primarily use USPS. That's what we primarily use. Do I run on our own account or use a third party to purchase? We use a third party for a long time. The last few years, we have our own account with negotiated rates. I can't tell you what they are because I've signed contracts that don't allow me to, and I can get sued. Um, but they are better. Not it's. I'll say this: it's nothing groundbreaking. I used to when I couldn't get those contracts, I assumed it was much better than it is. The perks that we do get that are nice, they'll print boxes. So like you guys, or not you guys, but maybe you're used to seeing like if it fits, it ships type boxes at USPS, like the white boxes, like, oh, everything in here for 18 bucks, right? We can change the sizes, make our own sizes, and they'll ship them to us. And then we can also have them put our logo on it and that kind of stuff. And those are free. And the ones you get are free, right? But we also have an added cost you don't have, kind of. I have probably 30 pallets of boxes sitting in a cargo container in my yard. And so there is that downfall, but it allows us to go, oh, this mug right here. If we had a box that was perfect to this, we'd save money in shipping. But we have to store 5 pallets of a box that fits this, right? So there is some advantages there. Um, but it's not, it is good, right? Don't get me wrong. Like I think last year we spent like 1.7 million in postage or something. So of that big number, right? Of 11 million, 1.7 million was straight up just postage. So you start spending quick. That being said, it probably would have been like over that big of a scale. It might have been like we might have saved 8%, or something. So it might have been 8% more if we didn't get custom boxes and a little bit of a savings. But it's yeah, and the prices keep going up, as you know. If you're into shipping, you're like, yeah, so it turns out Tuesdays don't go away. So we've got a Tuesday delivery charge now. And, oh, employees want more money, so we're charging more. Oh, peak demand pricing October till December, January. Like, oh, great. Like anything they can do to raise the price, I swear. So anytime we negotiate it hurts because they're like, we're going to negotiate, but in 3 months you're going to raise the price, and everything we negotiate for will just go away. And the contracts last for years, so it's kind of a racket, but I still believe USPS is the best. Any plans to invest in a plant farm to get more control? Uh, we've really considered it, but it's really hard to control nature, and I don't think we have anyone in the company right now that would really excel at that wouldn't be detrimental to another position. So like imagine myself or Randy has to go like we're doing the plant farm business. We're taking a key player out of pocket and whatever they were doing is going to fall down 20% to do a thing that we might not gain 20% out of. Same thing like right now, our retail store is going to get 3 times bigger. That doesn't mean we'll make 3 times as much profit. We estimate that we'll make 10% more money. So costs, staffing, all of that triple, but we'll only make 10% more money. That being said, we hope to grow into it. We think we'll just enjoy it more. And like you don't always do things just because they're financially make sense. And so like with the plant farm thing, I'm not sure that I want to be a plant farmer. And then I would have to have someone who is a good plant farmer. And then they have to stay with the company. It's a whole, in my opinion, right now we run 3 businesses. We run a retail store that does more than $1 million a year itself, right? With 5 or 6 employees and all of that. And then we have the warehouse, right? And then we have our like just our YouTube channel makes like, well, let me see. Can I do that? Let me see who I'm logged in as. I might be able to I might be able to show you guys how much money YouTube made last year. Now, we spent a lot of money with employees. Like there's 5 people that work on this channel a lot. Let's see revenue, and let's do the whole year last year. Let's see what that. Well, let's just last 365 days. Why not? Right here. So on the main YouTube channel, there we go. It made $315,000. So we have 5 employees working on that, which you're going to go like, oh well, 5 employees working at the retail store to make $1 million, and 5 employees working on YouTube to make 315,000. That's not nearly as good, right? True, but what that number can't show you is that's also our advertising. So we advertise so people will go into the store, advertise so people will buy online, and so that number, while it's just sheer dollars and helps pay for salaries that work on this channel, or not this channel, but the main channel, it also represents the advertising part. So maybe that should be more like valuation of like $1 million. I don't know what the correct valuation would be, but yeah, it's basically 3 businesses, and that's what I think a lot of people won't. When we go to work with other companies, they don't realize like their social media department's one person that's bad, right? And they won't even have a retail store. They'll be like, we ship online, or like, oh, we're a manufacturer. Like we manufacture our own products. We have to warehouse them. We have to ship them. We have people that just drive stuff around, pick up stuff from here, deliver to the warehouse, collate orders because we fill orders, deliver them to the retail store, right? And we're launching more businesses every day. Like another business that we're launching slowly but surely is wholesale to other things. So it means another warehouse, another team of people we need to work on, like we've been working on for a while, like getting better pricing on pallet shipping and all of that. And so we need more graphic designers. We're going to need more social media people because we want to support the stores we actually sell to. There's all these things that we work on. So that'll be business number 4. It'll all be under the same umbrella, but yeah, Plant Farm is it's on the list somewhere. It's just pretty low of like people do a good enough job. So I really miss Cory when he was on YouTube as much. Are you saying when I was on more, or miss when I wasn't on as much? I mean, I basically just take breaks when I need it. Like I'll just stop live streaming, and it could just be like we're buried at work. It could just be like I'm just not feeling it. And if I don't feel it, I try not to do it. Even when it looks like, oh, he's not having fun, right? Like, right? There's days where I'm like, I could go either way. Like today with the live stream for members, I can go either way. My hope is like, yeah, maybe it'll be fun. To me, when I don't feel it, it might be like going to someone's house. You got invited to like a party. Like, I don't know. I kind of just want to lay around and eat my own nachos and watch TV or whatever, right? But you go and you're like, that was amazing. Like that was way better than I thought, right? And a lot of times live streams are going to be that way for me. Of like, yeah, I don't know. Mm. And then you get into it, you're like, that was super fun. I got to do that more often. Every once in a while, you're like, that was terrible. Like I shouldn't have said that, or like we had to ban a bunch of members, or like whatever it ends up being, right? Like, oh man, that wasn't good. Have a great time in your meeting, Sarah. Can you imagine if that was a loom video that you made for someone? You got to finish what you were doing, eat your lunch, and then go back and do more work and be focused. All right. What time is it? Maybe I'll go like another 5 minutes and I gotta call this because I really do gotta. Or maybe I'll just wait. Maybe if my wife's listening, how long till you're home roughly? Because the next thing I'll do is eat, and I can't really. I won't start like let me get into doing something and then be like, oh, 4 minutes later is food. Well, we franchise. We're not franchising. Um, well, I always say that, but if a key person, Randy, Robert, other people that come up in the business after a while, like some of these people, like Robert's the longest standing employee actually. Um, some if they worked long enough and I felt like they could do it and they felt like they had enough capital, I would probably try and support them. And even if they didn't have enough capital, maybe I would be like part business partner. Like if I think someone's good enough to run my own business, I could probably analyze them to go, okay, do I think they could run their own retail store or their own wholesale operation, or And if I thought they could, I would probably put money behind them. I put money behind them right now, right? I basically go, hey, I think you're worth this much money. I'm going to give you this much money to do this for me, right? And so if I trust them to do that now, if they step down and they're like, hey, I really want to do this, and they picked a good market and they had a sound plan and like, why would we do this? And they could convince me, I think, sure, maybe we would franchise. Um, However, it seems unlikely. So probably never going to franchise. Let's see here. Ow, I just cut myself my braces. Things are annoying me. How? It literally cut my lip. Let's see here. If Coop has it, I get it fastest and properly packed. It's one less thing to worry about. Yeah, we take every complaint seriously. We look into it. We have cameras on every packing station. So if you get something and it's just crumpled up, we look at it like what was the state it went into the box? How was it packed in the box? Oh, this thing could have, if it had been dropped on a corner, this Easy Green crunched that. I could see that would happen. Does it make sense? Is this a common mix of products? Could we do an educational thing with the employees to go, hey, we're going to separate it this way, we're going to put it on the other side of the box, anything like that. But sometimes there's combos and stuff of like, yeah, we could know that someone's going to Ace Ventura that box and stuff's going to get beat up when that happens. We just have to take care of the customer. Oh, my dog's coming up. Maybe. Tiki, come here. Come here. Oh, come here. Oh, lunch is. Oh, sorry. See, I shouldn't have done it while you were live. You're okay. No, I caught her under her armpit a little bit because I was trying to stay on camera. My food is here, so I'm going to call it. I'll try and do this more frequently. If I keep it not as long as this one, then I can do more often. So if you're a fan of the other stuff I do, I'll probably be doing a member only live stream here in a little while. I'm going to eat some breakfast, not breakfast, eat some lunch and probably get at it. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. Leave some comments if you watch this after the fact, or I didn't answer the question, and maybe that'll be what I start with the next time. You doing okay? Yeah, I think you're doing okay. She doesn't even know she's on camera. All right, Kiki, go get mom. Go, go, go. Bye bye, everybody.